This assessment was suggested as needed by General Shibiri after he had already told us about the severity of the investigation that we were investigating and the people that we were dealing with. And then he suggested that there will be the need for a threat risk assessment done. Starting from then going forward.
Yes, but my question is, what is the purpose of a threat and risk assessment? Why is it done?
The purpose will be to assess the scale of threat that the members are faced with. And then maybe from there will be the recommendations that will be made by the personnel that will be conducting such threat assessment. Then actions will be taken from there, and then it will be usually it will be the recommendation that will say the members should be or must be provided with a certain level of security or protection.
And we're now in mid-May of 2024. Do you know whether a threat and risk assessment was done in respect of you and the other investigating team?
Yes, I remember that it was done through our office, and then we did sign a document, and then we waited for the results or the response thereof.
And did you ever receive the results of the TRA?
No, on this one we did not receive the feedback of the outcome of the TRA. We kept waiting without receiving any feedback.
And at that stage, who was responsible for preparing the TRA?
The TRA was prepared by our office. Colonel Mukwena was assisting with the TRA at the time.
Colonel Mukwena?
That's correct.
Which is your direct commander?
Yes, that is the direct commander, which will be termed as an immediate commander.
And did you inquire from Colonel Mukwena whether there had been an outcome, or did you just leave it at they will tell us when they need to report to us about it?
Yes, we were inquiring from time to time, and then I think he was waiting as we were waiting for a response to come back, and we moved on with our investigations.
Okay, so if I can then just go back to the meeting on page 14 of your statement at paragraph 43. I know that you had dealt to some extent with how you felt in the meeting and after you left the meeting, but could I just ask you to read paragraph 43 into the record, please?
Thank you, Commissioners. Paragraph 4.3 will read as follows.
It's 43 on page 14. Yeah, 43, sorry.
Yes, it is page 14, 4.3.
It's
we left that meeting feeling very concerned, not only because General Shibiri confirmed our fears that very powerful people were involved in the murder, but also because he had implied that he knew as a fact that there was a bribe ready for us if we were willing. Essentially, our most senior official had just informed us about a bribe in exchange for compromising the investigation in order to secure the accused person's release. It did not constitute direct enticement, but rather an either or kind of situation. In other words, there may be something for you, but it is up to you whether to take or not. That is the sense I got, which maybe will be translated that the sense that I made personally about the whole meeting with the general and what was discussed about the case, us being told about the dangerous people that we are dealing with, and then the envelope that was on offer, which I translated as being the money. And then I just got the sense that I didn't know what to make of it.
Thank you, Witness A. And then paragraph 44 as well, you did deal with some of it, but if you could also read that into the record.
Paragraph 44 will read as follows. I would not expect our senior to even have this conversation with us, but if he was going to, it would be to advise us not to take any bribes that we may be offered in exchange of compromising the investigation. He did not do so. In my view, even though he did not expressly say so, I left that meeting feeling that General Shibiri was firstly trying to find out what evidence we had that linked the suspects to the murder and how strong our case was at the time. And secondly, to bait us to see if we could be influenced, hence the reference to the envelopes being available. It seems to me that if we were not agreeable to take the envelopes, which was indeed the case, then technically he did not offer us a bribe, but he was merely informing us that there was a bribe up for grabs.
Thank you. And then paragraph 45 as well, please, Witness A.
Paragraph 45 will read as follows, but this left me with many questions. I was not sure if General Shibiri was associated with the dangerous people linked to the accused, as he put it. How did he know that those people are dangerous and have money, and that there are envelopes available? I had all these questions racing through my head, through my mind, but still wanted to give General Shibiri the benefit of a doubt. And I think actually that is what I did at that stage.
Thank you. And then at paragraph 46, you have now dealt with the TRA. And can I just find out from you, what was your sense of the safety, your personal safety at that stage?
The sense of the personal safety at this stage now, I could understand that we were faced with a risky situation in terms of the dangers that were imposed on us because of this investigation. And then I had a sense of understanding that we are really faced with the situation.
Thank you. Can we now go on to another topic, the next topic, which you say is the White House on the Hill? And can you just tell us how it came about that you ended up at the White House on the Hill?
Maybe before that,
White House.
Sorry.
Witness A, maybe before you tell us how you end up there, tell us what is White House on the Hill.
The White House on the Hill is a place that we invited to after this meeting that we had with General Shibiri. It is a place that we invited to.
Okay. Maybe if you can just tell us about how the invitation came about.
Yes, Commissioners. On the 24th of May 2024, I think it was just a week or after having met General Shibiri, a colleague of mine, that is the one that informed us that we were being tasked to go attend the scene on the 17th, told me that he got a call from the owner of that White House that I'm talking about to say, do we mind to join them as they will be having a party at the weekend. Then this is the person that we knew already early around the early months of 2022.
And just to complete that, what type of party was it that you were invited to?
He just said we need to. Do we mind to come to this place just to chill?
Okay, and
who
who
have
is
some free time together?
And who is it that invited you?
Invited through the member that I was working with when we started in this investigation.
Okay, but who did he say the invitation was coming from?
That will be now the name of a person. That will be now the
Yes.
name of a person.
Yes.
That is Vusindlala. That is Vusindlala.
Sorry, just repeat the name.
Vusi is the name. The surname is the name. The surname will be
Okay.
Ndlala.
And how do you know Vusindlala?
Vusindlala, we have known him around 2022. In our office, he came to our office with some assistance in investigation. That is when he was introduced to us. Then it was a person that we knew going forward.
Okay, so
That's just to make sure
Okay,
that
so
the
we-
name is not confused with Vusi. Please spell it for the record. If you spell it for the
yes,
record.
Chief. For the record, it is Ndlala, Ndlala.
Thank you.
And so you say that it is somebody that you knew since 2022,
That's correct, Commissioner. That's correct.
but not on a personal level.
It was not on a personal level. He came through to us. Some assistance with some investigation at the office. Then we got to know him from then.
Can I just understand that when you say before he came to the office with the complainant, you didn't know him, but then you got to know him because he came there to assist you with a complaint, and then he invites you to your party. So you are now relating to him on a personal level, not professional level. Is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioners.
Yes.
Okay, and when was this party supposed to happen?
This party was supposed to happen on the 25th of May 2024.
Okay, can you then proceed to tell us about the party and in reference to paragraph 48 of your statement?
Yes, and then on that weekend, then we proceeded to the place as it was given to us by him, to the party. And then when we arrived at the place, then he invited us in, or he welcomed us in. And then, to our surprise, as we entered that place, General Shibiri was also in attendance.
Can I just pause there, Witness A? You say you arrived at the place, and what were you expecting to find at this place? Was it a house, a venue? What were you expecting?
We were expecting to find a house, but when we arrived there, it was not a house. It was something that could be referred to as a boutique hotel.
Okay, we're going to flight a picture of the venue, and for the benefit of the commissioners, that is on page 55, WA2 of the bundle. I just want you to confirm that this is the place where you went.
Correct, commissioners, this is the place.
So it is 12 on Hilo, Hillel, Villa and Spa.
Yes, I see the address now, Commissioner.
And you said this is in Northcliffe.
Correct, Commissioners.
Okay, so you were telling us about when you arrived. To your surprise, you can continue from there.
Yes, as we arrived there, we were welcomed by Vusndlala, and then he directed us to the lounge space. And then as we entered there, then we found that amongst the people that were seated there was General Shibiri, which we didn't even expect or didn't know that he would be in attendance.
And how was his demeanor?
He was relaxed, and then he welcomed us in, and then he told us to feel at home, just to break ice. But before then, he seemed very surprised because he even said to Vusindlala in Zulu, "Why ungasho ukuthi uzovula police station la kwakho?" Which can be translated like, "Why didn't you tell me that you are opening a police station here at your place?" And then we all laughed about it.
Okay, in your statement, you refer to, if you can just, in paragraph 49, you mentioned that you went to the party, and then the second sentence, which starts on page 16, if you can just, because you haven't dealt with that aspect, if you can deal with the sentence that starts, "What was even more surprising is that General Shibiri was also at the party," and then just from there onwards, can you read that into the record, please?
Can I read starting from where it say, "At first, we did not know that
Yes.
we were police officers until Ndala told us that these people are police officers, but he didn't mention their names." And then I went on to say, "I was not aware that Vusindlala knew so many police officers that he can invite to his place." What was even more surprising is that General Shibiri was also at the party, sitting on the couch, and he appeared to be very comfortable. In fact, the music that was playing was being played from his phone that was connected to a speaker. At first, I did not know what to do, but then General Shibiri broke the ice and started talking. He said to Ndlala, "Why ungashongo ukuthi uvula police station la kwakho?" Which can roughly be translated as, "Why didn't you not say that you are opening a police station here at your house?" And then we all laughed about it.
Thank you, Witness A. And then at paragraph 50, can you explain to us what transpired after that?
Yes, at paragraph 50, we then, I was personally now looking at the situation, like trying to understand what was going on, reading the people that were inside, and then I could see that I was more comfortable at first with the fact that I was attending a party with a general, for the fact that I didn't even know that he was going to be there. So it felt tense at first.
Okay.
I then went out and took a phone and wrote a message to witness B. Not actually reporting, just telling witness B to say, actually it was a question I asked it, guess who else is in attendance at the party? To which she said, I don't know. Then I said, we are with General Shibiri.
May I take you to the first sentence of this paragraph, paragraph 50. And before that, perhaps I must take a step or two back. When you summarized your assessment of the meeting with General Shibiri, you sort of alluded to feelings of dismay, surprise as to what had transpired there, including what General Shibiri had said. But at that stage, you did not use a word as strong as inappropriate. Now, in the first sentence of paragraph 50, you say, I was uncomfortable being at a party with General Shibiri because he was the national head of my division, but also because of the inappropriate meeting we had just over a week prior. Why do you call the meeting inappropriate?
That will now refer to the first meeting, or this meeting, Commissioner, if I may ask for clarity.
The Chair is referring to the meeting on the 16th of May with General Shibiri. Why are you referring in paragraph 50 to that meeting being an inappropriate meeting?
I'm referring it to be inappropriate now because when we reported it to our commanders, we were told that it was not supposed to have taken place without our immediate commanders knowing, which is now General Khopane, to the extent that we were even advised not to ever go there again unless we tell her and she gives a go-ahead. Now, that is why now I'm referring to it as being inappropriate.
Thank you, Chair. You may continue, Witness A, with paragraph 50. So you told Witness B, you sent her a message and it said to her that you're with General Shibiri. And what was her reaction to that?
I think she didn't make anything out of it. Because she was said, oh, okay, is that the case? Then I said, yes. Then that was it. At that given moment.
Can I then ask you, still at paragraph 50, what is it that you had expected from General Shibiri at that party? Because we are talking about a social setting now. But in your statement, you mentioned that you had a certain expectation.
Yes, this was a social setup. But then when I got there, not knowing that he would be there, I was then making my own conclusions at the back of my head to say, I think this is a continuation of the meeting that we had prior in the month or in the weeks. And then now I was expecting to take over where we left off, which didn't happen. I strongly waited to him to engage us on the case, and then it did not happen at all.
Okay, so you're saying that even though it was in a social setting, you still expected him to give you some report back on the case or to discuss the case with you?
I expected as such.
Okay, and then if we can go to paragraph 51 of your statement.
Before you do that, let me ask, was this the first time, witness A, that you were in a out-of-work social engagement with General Shibiri?
Yes, Commissioner, that was the first time.
And was this the first time you attended a party invited by Mr. Ndlala?
Yes, Your Worship, that's correct.
So you had never socialized with him before, outside of work?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Insofar as that, you say that at some point you had a discussion with witness B in paragraph 51. Can you tell us about what it is that you were discussing?
That will be now the discussion as we were at the party.
No, in paragraph 51 on page 16 of your statement, you say that you had a discussion with witness B.
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate on that, or maybe it would help you to read that paragraph 51?
Yes, I think that the discussion that I had with witness B was that I wondered if this social party had anything to do with the events of April and May, which means now the case that happened in April and the meeting of the general in May, or it was just a party that it was a coincidence that we're meeting with the general there.
Okay, continue.
And then maybe I can just read this
Yes.
to the record that the only conclusion that I could come to is that General Shibiri asked Ndlala to invite us. I now think that it might have been part of the plan to test whether this colleague of mine that I was with or I were perhaps open to the undue influence, especially since witness one,
Witness B.
posed the questions to the general when we were at his office to ask what is he doing about the wrongdoings of the police, which could have then been to say it is not easy to bring her in. Those were the thoughts that were ringing in my head at the time.
Thank you. And then in paragraph 52, you speak about yet another invitation. Can you elaborate on that?
Paragraph 52 was a week that followed the one that we were invited in a party. The same happened now. The invite came through the same colleague of mine from the same Mr. Ndlala to attend the party again. And then unfortunately I was not around Gauteng. I could not attend. And then my colleague agreed to attend to a party. And then I asked him to tell me what is happening at the party. What is he saying? And all that. And then indeed he did attend to a party, which I think it was on the 30th of May, 2024.
In your statement, you say it was the 31st of May, 2024. The invite was on the 30th of May, which would have been the Thursday.
That is correct, Commissioners.
Okay. And continue with what you say in that paragraph about your discussion with the colleague.
Now the colleague called me at around 21:30 that evening and told me that and asked me to guess who else is in attendance. Then I said, I don't know because I'm not there. And then he counted to me the people that were in attendance. And then to my surprise, General Shibira has been now joined by 2 senior officers at the very same party, which was Gauteng Provisional Commissioner, Lieutenant General Ntombeni, and Brigadier Nkwashu, who is the a Deputy Commissioner at Sitibeni District section in the Val.
Okay, and at paragraph 53, if you could, for the record, just read that paragraph into the record.
Yes. Then it will go as follows. I suspected that the second invitation was yet another attempt to see if this colleague of mine and I could be influenced. If I had been in Joburg, I likely would have gone to the party with this colleague of mine. At this stage, as a typical investigator, I wanted to know if my gut feeling was right, that we were being quoted to be part of the pool of those people who could be controlled and influenced for the benefit of the criminals. In fact, when the TRA was performed or was conducted in respect of our personal safety, I mentioned the invite of the 25 to the House party, and this information formed part of the factors taken into account to assess the possible threats and risk. I am not all at liberty to discuss the findings of the TRA in this forum for safety reasons.
Witness A, from paragraphs 52, 53, regarding the second party, and even the paragraphs in relation to the first party, the subject of the envelopes was never broached. Is your suspicion then not at variance with this reality, that is the reality that this subject was never broached?
Yes, Commissioner, if I understand the question correctly. In the first meeting where I was present, the issue of the envelope was not spoken about. Even the case, it was not touched at all. And then on the second one, I also believe it was not spoken about, even though I will not be 100% sure of that because I was not in attendance. But I did ask my colleague as to whether was there any discussion about the case or anything to do with the investigation. Then he told me no, there was none whatsoever.
Witness A,
The point, Witness A, is, isn't there a disconnect then between your belief and suspicion and the fact that the subject of the envelopes was never broached, at least for a fact at the meeting, or rather the party that you attended, and also based on what your colleagues told you with regard to the second party? Do you understand the question now?
Yes, I do understand the question now, Commissioner. And I don't think there will be a disconnect between what happened and what I was believing too. Because when you see the laying of the ground, you could see that there was maybe a need to see if maybe we could be approached. As to why it was not done, I wouldn't know, because it appeared later in the investigation that actually one of the senior officers that was there did really make other means to get through to the investigating team.
I don't get that. Please repeat the last bit. I don't follow you.
I'm saying the belief, and then the fact that the case was not discussed, and then the belief that I believe that we're being brought to these two parties so that we can be maybe brought into the team of the people that will work with suspects. I'm still saying that. Then I'm saying this because one of the senior officers that was at the party that I didn't attend did eventually make means to get through to the team at a later stage. And then that will be dealt with by witness B.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Sorry, witness A. Just following up from the chairperson's question, I understand that you did not attend the second party, but the first one you did attend.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Yes. Now, did any of the people that you suspected to be involved in the Swart murder also attend that party?
They did not, Commissioner.
Yes. And did anyone at that party, let's forget about General Shibiri for the moment, did any of the people present at that party discuss with you anything related to your work, specifically the investigation into the Swart murder?
No, no one discussed anything that had to do with my work and the investigation into the matter of Mr. Swart, Commissioner.
Yes. So this gut feeling that you're referring to in paragraph 53 of your statement, where did it come from?
The gut feeling comes from the fact that one of the senior officers that attended the party, as I mentioned prior, did actually eventually make the means to get it through to the investigating team.
So then that gut feeling could not have been formed on the day of the party. It must have been formed sometime later.
For the fact of the matter, it actually was. It was formed there, and I always had a gut feeling to say, this cannot be a coincidence. This could not be happening. It's just that now, no one took it a step further to say, hey, come, let's discuss the case. But the gut feeling always have been there.
Commissioner Kumalo, thank you for that exchange. There are aspects of the witness's evidence that he cannot disclose that adds to why he had that gut feeling for matters that relate to safety issues, and that is why he's a bit hesitant to say go beyond it just being a gut feeling. Witness A, can we then deal at paragraph 17? You have a new topic.
Before you go to paragraph 54, you mean new topic? Okay. Before you do that, witness A, you in paragraph 47, where you speak about how you met Mr. Ndlala, and you say it was in 2022, and the next time, at least according to this paragraph, you engage with him is in May 2024. In the period 2022 to 2024, what interaction, if any, did you have with Mr. Ndlala? And I ask the question because we are here, among other things, or primarily because of allegations about members of the SAPS associating and having relationships with people who are not SAPS. I consider my question in that context. You have a member of the public, I assume Mr. Ndlala is, or Ndlala rather, and he comes with a complainant in 2022, and in 2024 you're attending his party. What is the nature of the relationship? When did it evolve to a point where you accept invitations to a party from him?
Actually, what happened between the period 2022 and now, there was communication just on the phone. We will talk from time to time with him, but we have never been to the party together or socialized together at his place. So it was a person that we will talk from time to time, the person that I now know.
And when you talk from time to time, is it about work or is it social relationships?
It will be a bit of both, because maybe some of the information, as the evidence leader said, that it will be a little bit sensitive. He introduced ourselves as an informer to one of the generals.
Okay.
So we will be talking about police work here and then social life there.
All right. And then in 49, you say you were surprised to see other police officers from other police units or stations in attendance. Why were you surprised? You are at a party in what you describe as a boutique hotel. Why were you surprised?
I was surprised because I will take it that if that was the case, he was supposed to tell me that, or tell us that I will also have other people in attendance.
Yes.
Then we would make our minds as to attend or not. Just for the matter of fact, if we knew that the generals would be there, in the first instance, I don't think that I would have attended.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
In that case, if you had found General Shibiri at the party the first time around, you do not say the second time around you did not attend because you thought General Shibiri would be there. You did not attend for whatever reason. Can you explain that?
That is correct, Chairperson. That will be a little confusing because now,
sorry, Witness A.
Yes.
Absent an explanation, it gives me, or rather this gives me the impression that but for your other commitment, you would have been there. And I would have thought that you would have expected that General Shibiri just might be there at the second party. Now, if you say had you known the first time around that General Shibiri would be there, you would not have attended. Can you explain now your acceptance that but for your other commitment, you would have attended?
I think now it changes the scenario because now we've got a situation where in the first instance we met with the general, he was there. Even though I wouldn't have attended if I knew that he was going to be there. But now I was eager to know what would follow if there will be a follow-up invitation, because if, for instance, there is an invite, then I do not go there, then I might not know what actually these invites are for. So that I believe it will give me the chance to actually understand or even learn as to what exactly these invites are for. To the extent that I did report that to my superior, then I did tell them that I will go to a next follow-up meeting. I reported about the first invite. I got the instruction that I must stop communicating with this person who was inviting us to those parties. But then I asked for a permission to say, if I cut that communication, then the risk that I think I will be running, I would not know what is happening behind the scenes about the criminals or the cartels, which then will be revealed to this commission that keeping an open communication to this guy or to this Mr. Ndlala helped me to understand the connection of Mr. Katiso to the cartel. If it was not that, I don't think it was going to be easy for me to understand much earlier in our.
Thank you, Witness A. And you said earlier on that you did report your attendance at the first party as part of the TRA background. Why was it important to do that? Chair, I think we've lost the... Witness A, are you there? Yeah. He's not muted, but he's just left now. We'll try and get him back.
Should we adjourn and
I think so, Chair.
and hear from you?
Thank
Let
you.
us adjourn.
No. It was just a network connection.
Oh,
Sorry, Commissioners.
is it sorted now?
It is sorted.
Okay, thank you. My question was related to why you felt it important to report your attendance at the first party on the 25th of May as part of the TRA background facts.
I felt to me it was important to report it because when I sat and thought back and discussed it with the investigating team, we understood it to be something else. It didn't actually come as a pure social gathering. If it was a social gathering, then it would have come at a wrong time because now we were having this case that was linking to these dangerous people. Then that information was sourced or it was given to us by the same general that is now at this social gathering, which then also added that this person who is inviting us there turned out to have knowledge about Katiso and the cartels. Even though I did not mean to discuss it to that extent, because I think for me it's a little sensitive. There is actually more to it.
Thank you, Witness A. Then if we can go on to your next topic, which is the ballistics investigation, and you say possible tampering. That is page 17, paragraph 54. Can you tell us what it is that you are referring to in this paragraph?
Yes, Commissioners. This one, I think it will be dealt in detail by Witness B. Yeah, but then just to give a little background on it, we had as we first requested that General Shibiri assist us to fast-track the finalization of the report. And then we did eventually get the report that was given to us. But when we went through the report, we found that there was some omissions, or there was something missing that was very crucial in order to linking the two sins, which would be the sin that happened in Bramley and the sin that happened in Vereeniging.
And why do you call that, as you title it, possible tampering? Why would it be tampering that there's something missing in the ballistics report that you had received?
When we read the report, it will be remembered that there was the 15 cartridges that I spoken about when we started that we found in the Vienna. And then it was our hope that these cartridges were either going to connect or link the suspect or the firearms to the Vereeniging murder. But then when we read our report, we could find that the ballistics analyst that was doing the analysis did acknowledge receiving the 15 cartridges when the exhibit were brought to him. But when he was compiling his report, he didn't speak to the ballistic as to whether they link or not. So that was the omission that I'm talking to.
So why don't you categorize that omission as just an error? Why do you say that it's possible tampering?
Yes, it could have been an error, but now it depends as to how you categorized it at the time. I thought it could be an error, an omission from your side, or it could be like to say, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to mention this to that report, which will then be an omission. So it just depended to the person who's reading it to say, but I'm taking this to be this, and I'm taking this to mean this.
Was your concern that it mentioned the cartridges, so he was aware that the cartridges, but it didn't link the cartridges? There's nowhere in the report where there's a linkage made to those cartridges and the scene, the murder scene.
Yes, it did. He actually did receive the cartridges brought to him to do the analysis on, like to do testing. Then it will be expected for him to give a report to that. Then the report will be either negative or positive. There was no such. So that could mean that it was an omission or maybe just an error from his side.
Sorry, Advocate Siegels. Witness A, I know the next witness will deal with this in more detail, but do you believe that there was possible tampering? What is your personal view? Do you believe that it was an innocent omission, or do you believe that there's a possibility of tampering?
I believe there was tampering when you take everything that happened with this case going forward, and then you understand and you listen to information that you get. I believe that this was a tampering that was aimed at not linking the suspects to this case.
And your opinion is not influenced by witness B, it is your personal opinion?
It is my personal opinion, but it is influenced by the investigations that was carried out after this omission was depicted.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. Witness A, you didn't give the name of the ballistics officer. Who is it?
Ballistics officer was Officer Makodle at the time. He has since been promoted to a rank of a captain.
You say he's since been promoted to?
A rank of a captain.
Of a captain. Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to spell his surname for purposes of the record, because there's later on other names that are similar to this? If you can just spell it for the record.
Yes, Makodle will be Makogltleo.
You mixed up some of the letters. Please start again, witness A.
It is Makogltleo, as far as I understand it, Chairperson.
Oh, so it's not OE, because it appears as OE and you repeatedly say EO.
It is OE. My apology, Chairperson.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Witness A. So you say that you went to collect the ballistics report from the warrant officer. Now, did you have any discussions with him at that point about the report that he had prepared?
Yes, so when we arrived there at his office, but before just we arrived there, Witness B got a phone call to say the report is ready. She can go collect. And then we proceeded to ballistic office in Silverton, Pretoria. And then we met Warrant Officer Makotle. And then he told us that the report that had been prepared is actually wrong. It needs to be redone. Not actually re-examination, but the writing of the report as we understood it. It was not written properly. Then he said the report that he was having, it was wrong. He cannot give it to us. He had to rewrite the report as we waited.
Continue.
And then he took us to his office where there was another warrant officer that I forgot his name, but he did introduce himself to us. And then they told us to wait as they were preparing the correct version of the report. And then we sat there about maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes, waiting for the final version of the report to be typed and given to us. But in the meantime, he didn't actually tell us what was wrong with the report that needed to be rectified, or maybe show us the wrong version, is to say, this is the wrong version, I'm either going to destroy it, but this is what was wrong. But we just trusted him as an expert to say, he saw whatever it is that he says it is wrong, now he needs to correct it and give us the right version. And then at that time, we were just happy with that.
Now,
but while we were sitting there, we now discussed the case, where he told us that we need to be very careful on this case, because now the firearms that are involved in this case are also involved in a lot of shootings around Gauteng and even KZN, where they are also involved in the heist.
yes, continue.
And then he said, even communicating openly to other people about this case is very dangerous, because it seems like the people that are involved in this case are very dangerous, looking at the involvement of this case, of these firearms to other cases. And then Our expectation at face value, it was that the report that he was compiling at that time was going to show us what he was speaking about, which was not the case.
When you say what he was speaking about, what are you referring to?
To say these firearms are linked in many cases.
So you were expecting the report that you were waiting for an hour and a half from him to fix the error would set out in that report the linkages that he was telling you about while you were waiting for the report.
That is correct.
And did the report have those linkages in there?
It did not have the records in there. Even worse, it did not have these 15 cartridges that we have recovered when we arrested the suspect at Bramley.
Thank you, Witness A. And we note that you say that Witness B will deal with this in more detail. If we can then go to page 19 of your statement, you refer to follow-ups that were made by Witness B and the ballistics expert. And then you say that there was something that occurred in September 2024. Can you tell us about that event in paragraph 59 and 60?
That will be now in relation to the ballistic investigation.
Correct, paragraph 59 and 60.
Yes. In paragraph 69, it says, I know that Witness B had made follow-ups with Warrant Officer Makotla regarding the ballistics report and was not making such much of a progress. Then sometimes in September 2024, we decided to take the firearms to another lab, which is also a SAPS lab in KZN, for them to be re-examined, or maybe just to see if they could get any linkages.
And the linkages...
as
sorry, Witness A, the linkages that you are referring to is what, the 15 cartridges or the cases that he had told you about, the other cases that he had told you about?
It is the other cases that we are told about.
Okay, continue.
Because at this point, we were not even aware that these 15 cartridges are not mentioned in his report.
Okay, so you didn't expect or have any knowledge of the ballistics insofar as the 15 cartridges were concerned. It wasn't something you were looking out for. It was you were looking for the linkages that he had told you about while he was preparing the report.
Yes, we're linking for the linkages in as far as we were told when he was doing the report. And maybe I just need to also mention that as we were advancing with our investigation, we already knew that these suspects were involved in a lot of shootings. Some of the dockets were already with us. Then we were expecting to say, if these firearms were found in Vereeniging, and maybe, for instance, we know that this person is also involved in shooting and killing a person, there, on a docket that I am also carrying here, then I was thinking, why am I not getting a linkage? Or we were expecting to get such linkages, but we did not. And then that was a little bit of frustration on our side, which is why we decided to take it for second analysis in KZN.
Okay.
Witness A, just so that we don't lose each other, please go to paragraph 55 of your statement.
Yes, Commissioner.
The firearms you refer to in line 4 of your statement, where you say you accompanied your colleagues to the forensic laboratory in Silverton to collect firearms. Are these the firearms that were collected or taken or confiscated when the arrests were made after the Swart murder? Are those the firearms?
That is correct, Commissioner.
So they were in Silverton, and when you left Silverton, did you leave with those firearms, you and your team?
Yes, Commissioner, we left with them, and then we booked them at the police station where the docket was open, which is Bramley.
And then now, if you go to page 19, paragraph 59 of your statement, you say sometime in September 2024, we decided to take the firearms to another lab in KZN to see whether there were any linkages. Are you referring to the same firearms?
I'm referring to the same firearms, Commissioner.
And then what happened to the 15 cartridges?
The 15 cartridges were left at the lab in Pretoria, because ordinarily you will get the firearms, and then the cartridges, which is now the 15 cartridges, will be left with the lab for them to dispose of. So we didn't take them, we just took the firearms.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so we're now at paragraph 60. You talking about the second opinion. You took the firearms to another lab. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, we then took the firearms to the second lab in KZN for them to be re-examined. And then when we got there, we were asked as to what the issue was, and then we had to explain to say, this is the information that we got when we got to the lab the first time in Pretoria, but now we trying to read the ballistic report. We cannot see what was said by Warrant Officer Mokhoto. Then we're struggling because now we understand as people are involved in other cases, and a lot of other cases that we're investigating, but we don't see it here. And then would we please be assisted?
You may continue with who was it that was assisting you at that lab in KZN?
We were assisted by Warrant Officer Kada.
And what did he tell you?
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Commissioner.
I interrupted you, so you were saying Warrant Officer Kada?
Yes, he's a ballistic expert. He was the one who was going to assist us with this ballistics that we are asking about, or that we are requesting to be assisted on.
Okay, you mentioned that you voiced your frustrations to him, and then you also needed assistance from someone else. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yes, we informed him what has happened, and then we gave him a little bit of the case, and then we also gave him the report that we got from Pretoria, because we were carrying it with us, to say, can he read through it and interpret it to us, because it's quite a technical report. You need someone who understands it well to read it back to you and tell you what it actually says. And then at a first glance, he said, but there is 15 cartridges that was taken to ballistics. And then there is nothing mentioned about them in the results, because now the expert will receive the exhibit, then will do the examination, then will give the results thereof, which will then be negative or positive. And then it was actually him who alerted us that there is no mention of the 15 cartridges in the results, but they are being mentioned as coming in to the lab.
And then just for the sake of completeness, you mention the Major General Mbuso Kumalo, what was his role in this process?
His role was to facilitate that we get assistance in KZN, because now, ordinarily, when you are here in Gauteng, you take your ballistics to the nearest lab, which is in Pretoria. Now, we're struggling to get help there. Now, we said, can we maybe try and take it to KZN and see if maybe they will assist us before we get to trial, so that we can understand exactly what is happening here. Is it really that these firearms are also concerned in this case, or maybe they're also concerned in a lot of other cases, of which some are the cases that we were investigating? And then he really did so. He connected us with the ballistics in KZN for us to assist us.
Thank you, Witness A. Can we now go on to the next topic, which is on page 20 of your statement, starting at paragraph 61. You've titled it Tau's Bail and the IO's Request for Assistance.
Yes. On this one, it mainly deals about Tau that was now applying for his bail at Vereeniging on the murder case, because initially they did apply for bail, all three of them, and the bail was denied. And then they were not granted bail. And then Tau made a bail on new facts, citing that he has got a condition. Then this condition warrants him to be released out of prison so that he can get better medical services outside.
Well, what condition is it that he relied upon?
He told the court that he was diabetic, and then he told that his condition would need him to be at a facility outside of the hospital. And then he was granted bail based on that.
Okay, so can we just go a step back before he's granted bail? You speak about the 1st of August, 2024. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, the 1st of August, 2024, it was the eve of the day when that was granted bail. And then I got a phone call from Wusundlala again. And then he told me what was going to happen about bail. He actually expressly told me that that was going to be granted bail. Then he told me, that cannot happen because we've got a strong case against him. And he has already failed his first attempt. Then he told me what was the plan, according to him. And then he said, Tau is going to pay his way out. If that fails, he will escape. If the second one fails of escaping, he will eliminate the investigating officers, meaning he will kill them. Then I said, he's just making stories. That's not going to happen, meaning getting bail, not talking about killing or escaping. I was talking about bail because I was so strong that the case that we had against him is actually very strong.
Witness
But
A.
what happened on the second?
Witness A, you say the WhatsApp call was from open quote someone, close quote. Did you establish from whose phone this call was made?
Yes. It was from Mr.
I missed that. I'm looking at the statement, and because I sort of suspected that you did mention the name now, I Commissioner. He, like me, missed the name as well. I'm very sorry. I was looking at the someone in the statement. Thank you very much.
Yes, Commissioner, thank you. And then now I reported this call only to the second witness because I didn't really make something big out of it. I said, I told her to say, hey, I got the call from this person because now she knows him because we've just attended the party there. This is what he is saying. But I didn't take it as something serious. Only to be surprised on the following day that Tao really was granted bail. Then it kind of changed the whole situation.
When you say it changed the whole situation, what are you referring to?
It confirmed what Lala had said to me on the first. And then it also confirmed what he used to be saying, like along to say this person is connected to the Mlife who is connected to the Katals. And then it confirmed to say when he said they will pay their way out, or if that doesn't happen, they will kill the investigating team. Then I could see that one of what he said, one thing of the three things that he said will happen has just happened. So now it meant we needed to run fast to stop them doing maybe the second or the third step on the things that he said would happen.
Now,
And then I called him again. I called him again on WhatsApp call. And then as I called him, he said, when he answered the call, he said, yes, I told you. The problem is when I tell you things you do not want to understand. And it was just early, before even our office knew that I was being granted bail. Then he said, I told you the problem, you do not want to listen to me when I tell you things. Then I asked him, how did you know? Then he told me that he was called by General Shibiri, who told him that, hey, Tao had just been released in Vernegem on bail of 10,000. Now, my suspicions that I had that were not confirmed were coming to reality now to say, hey, what I was suspecting with the parties, going to his office, could it be that he knows something that we don't know?
What?
And then,
Witness?
yes, Commissioner.
Yes. What did you understand him, or what did he mean when he said, he also said that I did not want to listen to him when he tells me about such things. What does that mean? You discuss with him ordinarily and his place in your work?
He will tell me a lot of things about this case. Amongst the things that he will tell me is to say, hey, recuse yourself from this investigation because it is dangerous. The people that are behind this case are actually dangerous. You will get yourself killed. Then I will take it as if just someone who just want to intimidate you. Then I'll say, hey, it always happens. And then he will go on and say, the person that you're working with, who's now witness B, is not telling you that she has already received money in order for her to release Tao or not to oppose bail for Tao. Then I told him that is impossible. It's not going to happen. So in a nutshell, those are the things that he was telling me. But the 2nd of August, it means that we needed to work very fast to alert our commanders at the very highest level of what has happened and what was coming along, because most of the things, it was just between me and witness B and maybe a few other people, but not reported directly to the senior officers. But on that day, we thought that we actually need to report this and lay the foundation as we were coming from the first appearance to this day, so that the senior officers can take a decision from there. But other than that, we were feeling scared. We were feeling really, really scared. To such that I requested to be provided with security from that day, to be taken to the place where the meeting was going to be. In order for us to pave the way forward. And then we held a meeting that took us through, not through the night, but it took us late into the night, trying to think what it is that we need to do, how are we going to approach this, who is going to be looking at our safety, because at the meantime we were also waiting for the TRA application that was in place, that was applied for.
You say that, I hope I won't be making you repeat something that you've said. You say that at the time you had the telephonic interaction with Mr. Ndlala.
Yes.
Only 2 of you investigators were remaining. Originally, as I understand, there were 5 of you, not so?
That is correct.
What had since happened to the other 3 investigators?
The other 3 investigators had recused themselves.
At what? You said had recused themselves. That's I'm used to that term being used in the context of judicial officers or people who preside even in tribunals or other adjudicative fora. So I'm not used to it in the context of investigators. Can you explain what you mean?
Yes, Chairperson, I'm using it in lack of a better term to use, but they have gone out of the investigation. They were no longer part of the investigation. I just do not have
they had withdrawn. They had
suitable English term for that.
They had withdrawn as investigators.
That is correct. Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, they had already withdrawn themselves from investigation.
The reasons being?
They didn't really give a reason, because their withdrawal was not a kind of a formal withdrawal to sit down around the table to say, because of reason 1, 2, and 3, I'm deciding to withdraw myself.
May I ask this direct question? From the testimony of General Mkwanazi, the distinct impression we were given is that investigators withdrew because of the threats that were brought to bear upon all the investigators. Would that be, which I believe was part of what led to 10 members of the PKTT being brought to Gauteng? Is that factually correct or not?
That would be correct, Commissioners. But what I was saying is that there was no formal withdrawal to sit around the table to say, for reason number 1 or 2, I'm withdrawing myself. But I think the pressure that the team was facing could have amounted to them to withdraw themselves.
Thank you, Chair. You were still on the issue of Tao's bail, and we are at paragraph 65 on page 21. Could you just read that into the record? And while you're doing that, we will display WA3, which is on page 56 and 57. It is redacted. The display will be redacted. But if I could ask you to look at your hard copy after you've read this into the record.
Yes, Commissioners, I've got my hard copy. It will be page 56 and 57. I'm
Yes.
correct, Commissioner.
Yes. Can you tell us what it is that we're looking at without mentioning the name of the person who's sending this message?
Yes.
You may proceed.
I'm just preparing to read them out.
Okay, we're looking specifically at the one on the 15th of July 2024.
Yes.
It says chat 1. Do you have it
Check
with you?
one. Yes, I have it with me. Can I just please switch on the light because it is quite dark where I am?
I'm asking you not to look at the one that's on the screen because it's redacted and you won't see some of the information.
I think he says it's dark.
Yes, I want to read
Towards
from the
the
hard
light.
copy, but I just need to switch on the light of the place where I am.
Please
that
do
I
so.
can see clearly.
Okay?
Yes, Commissioners.
Witness A, if I can ask you to first read paragraph 65 of your statement into the record, and then we will go to the WhatsApp chat on page 56. So first read 65.
Yes, the paragraph 65 goes as follows. It says, our investigation also revealed that in a WhatsApp chat on the 14th of July 2024, someone sent a message to Mulife saying, appearance for bail application today. Next court appearance, bail will be granted for him. Tao's next appearance was indeed on the 2nd of August 2024, and he was granted bail. On that day, Mulife sent a message to that person saying bail granted with emojis. The next extract from this chat is attached as the paper that I'm having here.
Okay, so then if we can then go to page 56, which is WA3, do you know
Yes.
where this chat came from whose phone this chat came from?
Yes, it came from the downloads of Mr. Mulife's phone.
Sorry, you say the downloads from Mr. Mulefe's phone.
Yes.
When was his phone obtained?
His phone was obtained during his arrest on the 6th of December 2024.
Thank you. Can we then go back to your statement at
Yes,
paragraph
Commissioner.
66? Can you tell us what
Yes.
happened?
Before you go to 66, these exchanges between you and, you say, Mr. Ndlala, where in advance he tells you what the plan is, and you describe this in paragraph 63. You say there was a clear plan what would happen regarding the bail. First, he would be granted bail. Secondly, if he was not granted bail, he would escape from custody. Thirdly, if 1 and 2 failed, the investigating officers would be eliminated. And then you say it was at this point where I was advised to leave the investigation. And then then again in the next paragraph say you called him back, where you say I called the person, in paragraph 64. In the third line, you say I called the person who informed me that that is Mr. Ndlala. You called Mr. Ndlala.
That's correct.
All right, and then that Dawu would be granted bail. Before I could tell him what happened, he laughed and said he told me this would happen. He also said that I didn't want to listen to him when he tells me about such things. He said this in a boastful way. Without disclosing anything that might be sensitive about Mr. Ndlala and your engagements with him, did you consider why would he know this kind of detail? That there was a plan, and he details it in the way that I have set it out, and that Mr. Dawu would be released, and in fact, Mr. Dawu does get released.
That's correct. That was one of my concerns. To the extent that I did ask him as to how did he came about to know that he had just been released, because it was a new information. So now I thought he knew more than I knew about the case that I was investigating, meaning that he had a connection somewhere with the people that were involved in the case. That was my understanding of the situation at the time.
Yes. He is not an employee. Mr. Ndlala, you say categorically he's not an employee of the SAPS.
He's not an employee of the SAPS, as far as I will understand.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Siggles.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Witness A, we were at page 21, paragraph 66 of your statement, where you were dealing with the aftermath of Mr. Tau's bail application succeeding and him being released on bail.
Yes. Then we had a long meeting on the 2nd, that now we took a decision that we need to take steps to report these things to the general, who is now General Kumalo, who is the head of detectives in the province, through Brigadier Khopane, who is our immediate commander at our office. And then this was now on a Saturday, and my leave was starting. I was supposed to have gone somewhere for leave, but I thought I cannot leave until I see that we are getting help on this. And then now we started to be engaged in what I call as a runaround. We were driving around Gauteng trying to figure out what it is that we're going to do, because it was not safe to drive to our places. It was not safe to even go to the office, because now the police were also involved in this. We're trying to get hold of Brigadier Khopane on the phone, and then she was not around the province. She was attending at the funeral outside the province, and then the network was bad. The phone was not going through. Now we wanted to get a hold of General Kumalo, who is the head of detectives. We didn't want to report to any other person junior to those two. But now the challenge that we had, we did not have direct communication with the general at the time. So we were thinking of who was going to connect us to the general and actually be able to lay the frustrations that we're having, and then why we needed to see him, because actually we needed to go to him, even though it was on the weekend, to say this is the problem that we're sitting with. We knew that he knew about the case, but we were not discussing the case openly with him at the time.
It's Witness
And
A,
then
can I just ask you, you say that you couldn't get hold of Brigadier Hopani to get assistance. Why didn't you contact your direct commander, Colonel Mokoena?
As I mentioned before, that the directive that we had received from Brigadier Hopani was that anything that has to do with this case should be reported to her or to the general only, no one else. So we were taking it to that level to say, we think the person who can be in a capacity to assist us now will be the brigadier or the general.
And when you speak of the general and you say General Kumalo, could we just ask you to be specific, because there are many General Kumalos, at least two. So if you could be specific to give the name. So in this instance, you say that it's General Mbuso Kumalo.
That is correct. This is General Mbuso Kumalo, who is the head of detectives in the province, in Gauteng.
Okay, you may continue.
And then we thought of one of our colleagues who thought he may have a direct communication with the general. And then we drove straight to his house, and then we told him what was happening. And then he tried to call the general there and then. But unfortunately, the general could not pick up. Then he said, no, we should relax. The general is going to come back. In fact, he was going to send a detailed WhatsApp message to the general for the general to come either back to him or to us. And then I felt at ease that I could drive outside of the province as I was going on leave, knowing that the general is going to attend to us at any time.
Okay. You also say that you reported the matter to the prosecutor. Can you elaborate on that, please?
The matter was also reported to the prosecutor, but with the prosecutor we had an open communication with every development. So even this one, it was reported to the prosecutor to say this is the challenge that we're facing. But actually, she actually understood the problem that we're facing, and then she asked us about the TRA that we have applied earlier on. Then we told her that we haven't received any results, and then she took it up to herself to write it to our commanders and give them the background of the situation that we're facing, and requesting them to see to it that we are provided with security, not only for us, but also of the docket that we carry.
Why was it important to provide security for the docket as well?
It is because that now we thought that if they do not find us, they will want to find the docket. Once they find the docket, then you will have a problem, because now you won't be having the docket, like the physical docket, it will be gone. That was just our thought. It's not that we knew that this is what was going to happen. To the extent that this docket was not kept where we will keep our docket at the office in our still locked cabinets. We were driving around with it wherever we were going, which was posing another danger to us.
Did you or Witness B ever get hold of General Mbuso Kumalo?
It is General Mbuso Kumalo who came back to us after, I believe, having received the communication from the member that assisted us to get through to him.
So you spoke to the general?
The general phoned me.
And what
And
did
then
he say?
I spoke to him. And then he told me that he has heard what has happened. And then he told me that he would want to see us very soon so that we can discuss a way forward. And then I told him that I was on leave, but I was willing to withdraw my leave and come to work. Then he said, no, there won't be a need. As long I am safe wherever I was, he will be communicating or making any arrangements that will be made with witness B until I come back from leave. And then as soon as I came back from leave, we went to General's office. And then he addressed us, he asked us some questions, and then he told us that he's going to assist wherever he can. And then he just gave us the layout, what his wish and what he thinks should happen to this investigation.
Okay, can I just take you a step back while you were still on leave at paragraph 69 on page 22? You speak about an event that occurred on the 8th of August. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. On the 8th of August, I would have been on leave because I think I came back on leave on the 16th, if I'm correct. And then I was informed by witness B that the TRA has been conducted, the threat risk assessment had been conducted, and it was classified as high risk, which in other words meant that our lives were extremely in danger.
And who conducted that TRA?
Sorry, I didn't get that, Commissioners.
Who conducted that TRA?
It was Colonel Dule from Crime Intelligence.
Okay, proceed.
Yes, then when I came back, we started doing our investigation. Then we will be meeting with the officers that were assessing our risk, getting information from us, asking us how we're feeling. That is what we were told. But I would believe that they were also checking the places that we were staying at, even though I didn't know that. But there were background checks that were done on us, I believe.
Okay. And then at paragraph 70, you speak about an incident.
May I, before you go to 70? Witness A, you say in paragraph 67 that you could not, the language you use is you say we could not speak to General Shibiri. And so we thought that we should try to get hold of Major General Mbuso Khumalo. Why could you not speak? Why did you decide that you could not speak to General Shibiri?
We had already been advised, commissioners, to say we must not discuss this case with him, if I may say that. And then also the confusion that happened with the parties and us called to his office, we at this time, up until today, we hadn't figured out if it was him assisting us or if it was him trying to get information from the docket and everything. So it was safe to deal with the people that we trusted at the time.
So the reason you decided not to speak to him, it was a trust issue. You didn't think you could trust him.
I will put it in that way, commissioners.
Yes. Ordinarily, if there were no trust issues and you were dealing with this problem that you find yourselves in, and you can't get hold of your immediate superior, I think Brigadier Hopane, ordinarily who would you speak to? Would it have been Shibiri, General Shibiri?
No, it would have been General Mbuso Khumalo because he's at a provisional level then General Shibiri is at the national level. So I will exhaust the means of trying to get hold of General Kumalo at the provincial level. And then going to national level will be extreme.
Yes. So in terms of hierarchy, the right person, if you couldn't find Brigadier Hopane, you're saying General Kumalo, Mbuso Kumalo would have been the next person that you speak to if you followed the hierarchy?
That's correct, Commissioner. That will be the next person that you will have to speak to.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sikam.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Okay, so we are now at paragraph 70 on page 22, where you speak about an incident that occurred in the week of the 12th of August when you returned from leave. Can you just tell us about that?
Yes, now I had already resumed duties. Then we were doing normal investigation on this case. And maybe it should be mentioned that we were doing this case and other cases that we already had at the office. So it will be this case and other cases, depending what investigation you have on other cases. And then we were called to come to the office. And then the information was that there were two officers who were waiting for us or who needed to meet with us at the office. And then we drove to the office, and then we found these two police officers at our office now, at the organized crime office. And then they told us they are from the cold case unit, and then they requested that we give them over the docket of Swart murder.
And
one of these warrant officers was identified to us as Dion Mulaudzi, who works at the cold cases office. And then we refused. We said we cannot, because that's procedurally that was wrong. You can't just give the docket to someone because they're requesting for the docket, let alone that this was the sensitive matter that we're investigating. Even if it was just a normal docket that had no threats and everything, you cannot just say, okay, here's the docket, you're looking for it, have it.
Witness A, the form of request, did they have a letter with them or was it a verbal request?
It was a verbal request.
And who is the head of the cold case unit? Or who was at the time?
I really do not have concrete information. I only heard that the head of the cold case unit will be Brigadier, I just forgot the name. He's Brigadier Keninda, yes, he's heading it, but I have not seen the structure of that unit. I don't know if that is true.
And just for our benefit, what is a cold case in the context of the South African police system?
The cold case is the term given to the cases that one would say they are lying dormant. They have been opened, and then there is no breakthrough for a certain period of time. Then they will be referred to as a cold case, which will then mean that they need a certain or a different approach from a mainstream approach that maybe the station or any other unit will be giving. Then they are ordinarily transferred or given to the cold case unit. But this one of us, it was a fresh case, and it was not called in a way that the people were already arrested and it was caught going. So it didn't really fit the category of it being investigated in that unit to start with.
So you, as one of the investigators, had not yet formed a view that you've hit a dead end with this case?
No. Actually, the progress on the case was wonderful. We were having leads. We were getting closer to even arresting a fourth suspect. And then we had good linkages to the suspect that we had already arrested. So there is no way that it could have been referred to as a cold case at that stage.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo.
Is it, witness A, is it not possible that whoever approached you may have considered this to be a cold case because you were not discussing it with anyone? You've testified that a very small circle of people knew anything about this case as per instructions, and there was good reason for it. Is it not possible that there may not have been anything sinister with these two gentlemen who come and ask for it, for the docket?
I wouldn't think so, Commissioner, because even if that would have been the case, the time frame did not allow for this case to be categorized as such. And then besides that, this case was all over the news. You will go around, you will know about this case to say there is 3 people that were arrested for the murder of Mr. Swart in Vereeniging. And for the fact that there was a police officer that was arrested for it, on it, it will be like all over in the media and more so all over in our own connections in the police, our groups and everything. So it was known that it was court going.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Witness A, we're still on page 23 of your statement. And at paragraph 71, you talk about a meeting that occurred on the 20th of August, 2024. Can you tell us what happened at that meeting?
Yes, this meeting happened just for us so that we can be able to give the progress of the case to the general, because now the general was taking this case, provide you with the members that will be in charge of your safety or your protection while you are doing the docket and while you are off duty. And then at the same time, there was another wing of the police that was going to be working behind the scenes, which I'm not at liberty to talk about their operations because I don't know about them, but they are from counterintelligence. They were doing the TRA, they were doing the background checks, they were seeing the severity of the risk, and then maybe reporting to the generals, I don't know, but they were also part of the operation by then.
You refer in your statement at paragraph 71 to a counterintelligence investigation. Is that what you just mentioned now, or is that something else?
Initially, the counterintelligence came in as far as giving protection and assessing the situation, maybe which then led to the counterintelligence investigation to say the investigation itself, now the overall investigation need to be taken under the counterintelligence. I will talk to that extent. But initially, it was not the counterintelligence doing investigation. It was us doing investigation under their protection up until the time when now we were introduced to their wing of investigation, which included the PKTT, as it is called.
Okay. At paragraph 72, maybe that would be the concluding topic for today. You speak about events of the 5th of September 2024. Can you just tell us what happened on that day?
This one was one of the eventful days because we were not already provided with the units that were going to guard us. So we were visited at home late at night by the unit that needed to guide us, that guard us, or provide protection to us and our families as we were sleeping. And then it came as a surprise because we were not really noticed or given a notice to say people were going to visit you at night. From my side, I heard by the sirens outside, and then when I opened the window, I saw 5 marked police vehicles with the sirens and blue lights on. And then when I went to them, they told that they were being tasked to come give protection to me overnight. And then in the morning, the other team was going to take over. That one will be the TRT. And then we will be doing investigation, and then the other team that came at night will come change. They were changing shifts.
So was it 24-hour protection?
It was actually the start of a 24-hour protection.
Thank you, Chair. I think this may be a convenient time to adjourn for the day.
Let us adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow.
Let's stay with a related development. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, which is also probing those claims of criminality, interference and corruption in the justice system, is preparing to resume its hearings. Today, it'll decide on whether the sessions will be held in camera or be open to the public. SABC News senior reporter Kenny Mapanga is part of our team watching that story from the Justice Mabandla Justice College and joins us now live. And Kenny, the last time we were there was an adjournment because there were concerns that the technology set up there may actually compromise the safety of witness X. And I imagine those are the kind of things that have to be ventilated today before we get a sense of how today's hearing will proceed.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Ayanda, and to the viewers at home. Well, at the outset, it's already been stated before on Tuesday that the witnesses that were scheduled for Thursday and Friday, that is today and tomorrow, those are in-camera witnesses. When that draft order was agreed upon between the two parties, that is the evidence leaders of the commission itself and lawyers on behalf of News 24 and Daily Maverick, that was on the basis of those witnesses that were in the category 2 of the request for in-camera hearings. So there was a blanket in-camera request, and then there was the category 2, which would be those who were anonymized and would testify through an intermediary, and they would be tested in accordance with that procedural approach. However, that approach fell flat on Tuesday when there were technical challenges that risked endangering that particular witness, that is witness X, and of course that testimony was abruptly stopped, and we saw the evidence leader having to read read that statement into the record. Of course, that procedural approach had its flaws insofar as the fact that although the statement was read out in the record and we had access to that, there were portions of that statement that needed to be qualified further. However, that element was not there because witness X had been relieved from the stand due to this technical challenge that could risk his safety, which would go against the very reason why the evidence leaders have requested for these in-camera hearings. So what we understand, Ayanda, is that each witness will be dealt with case by case. I see that lawyers on behalf of News 24 and Daily Maverick are here prior to the 9:30 a.m. start. But at the outset, it has always been the position of the evidence leaders that these particular witnesses for Thursday and Friday, who weren't part of the agreement in the draft order that was made a final order and was later substituted with an afternoon order, because of those developments that I've described earlier, it was made clear that these witnesses are in-camera witnesses. So at the very least, we don't know if that position will remain, but the decision or the process leading up to the decision as to how these witnesses are going to give their evidence, that will be done in an open process where the media and the public will have access to it. However, if the Commission rules that these are going to be in-camera witnesses, then the consequence will be that the media and the public will not have access to this particular leg. It remains to be seen whether a compromise will be made with respect to their statements. Remember, there was an agreement on Tuesday that where a witness testifies or an anonymous witness testifies, that a statement would be made available the next day and it would only be redacted as long as it's necessary to do so. So it's not clear as to whether or not the evidence leaders will remain in their strong position that these Thursday and Friday witnesses are in-camera witnesses that need to be safeguarded because of the kind of sensitive evidence that they're going to be giving to the Commission, and in what the Commission will do going forward to strike a balance between this obligation to safeguard these witnesses, protect them, and ensure that they can give evidence freely and fairly without any risk of harm, but also to ensure that the principles of open justice and media freedom are respected in this particular process, as there's a lot of interest from the public in this very important inquiry that seeks to establish the facts surrounding these allegations of criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system. We're always on time here, Ayanda, so 9:30 a.m., that's where we'll get all those details. Over to you in studio.
And that's in a few moments' time. Kenny Mapanga, let's release you to get your setup ready. Thanks very much indeed for that update, Kenny, reporting live to us there from Pretoria.
Chair, I would like to report that News 24 and Daily Maverick have accepted that there is a need for today's hearings to be in camera and are no longer opposing the in-camera ruling that we seek. Just to motivate that further, as I've explained, or as the evidence leaders explained in the application and in the submissions made earlier this week, the witness testifying today is going to testify about matters that are the subject of active ongoing police investigations. So it's the subject matter of the evidence, not the identity of the witness, that requires the evidence to be in camera. And when the police are at an advanced stage of investigations, one can't ventilate the content of those investigations publicly without running a risk of compromising those investigations. And that's the unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in at the moment, because this commission is of necessity investigating matters that are the subject of parallel police investigations that are at an advanced stage. As I said earlier in the week, we hope very much that long before this commission concludes its business, the investigations will have reached a stage where they will no longer be at risk if this information becomes public. And as soon as that point is reached, the testimony from today will be made public. But for thematic reasons and to enable the Commission to understand the narrative that the evidence leaders want to put before the Commission in a coherent fashion, it makes sense to take that evidence now and not to wait until much later when it can possibly be led publicly. But as soon as the need for secrecy has passed, the evidence will be made public. So we would ask for today's evidence to be in camera. There's one further issue I just want to place on record, which is that independent newspapers had earlier expressed opposition to the in-camera ruling and had sought an opportunity to intervene in relation to proceedings next week. But having understood the ruling of the Commission earlier in the week, and having discussed it with the evidence leaders, they're now satisfied with that ruling and are no longer opposing. And I said one thing, there are actually two things, because what I would want to emphasize is that paragraph 5 of that ruling says that apart from the witnesses to which this ruling refers, the evidence leaders will not seek to lead any other witnesses in camera without making a new application to the Commission and making the fact of that application publicly known